What's up everybody, I'm Matt Brody, and before we get started, I just want to say thank you for stopping by and watching this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're into photography, video, marketing, vlogs, things like that, that's what we do here. Welcome back to Quick Tip Friday. This is a just-in-time photo tip. If you are watching this on Friday when this video comes out, this Sunday is the super blood wolf moon eclipse. It's crazy. It's like one of those everything lines up kind of moments. So there's going to be a super moon and a blood moon, which means the moon gets kind of red and rusty looking. It's also a wolf moon, which is I think just a fancy term for the first full moon of the month. But it's also going to be an eclipse. And so all these things are happening at about 9:30-ish p.m. on Sunday night. So this is just in time to let you learn how to photograph the moon so that you can go out and get some awesome pictures of the super blood wolf moon eclipse. So after you've figured out how to finish saying all of that, let's teach you how to actually photograph it. Now there's a couple things I like to do when I'm photographing the moon, and obviously the event hasn't happened yet, so I can't actually show you how I'm gonna shoot it. I wanna give you some tips so that you can go shoot it. I'm gonna implement these tips too, and I'm gonna share them on Instagram. And if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram. It's the Matt Brody. Tip number one comes pretty standard. Use a good tripod. When you're zoomed in on the moon the way that you're gonna be, you want that camera to be as steady as possible. So use a good tripod. The other thing you're going to want, if you can, is either to put the camera on a timer or on a shutter release if you've got a remote, or if you don't have any of that and your camera has a touch screen where you can touch to take a picture, do that. Anything you can do to keep from physically touching the shutter release on the camera is going to help you out keeping your camera as still as possible so you don't get any shake. So in terms of exposure, there is no really one right exposure. I tend to start with my aperture to get the crispest image I possibly can. So I typically start with f11 or f16 just to make sure I have a really crisp image and a lot of depth of field. From there, you're going to want to adjust your ISO and your shutter speed accordingly. You're going to have to play around with that a little bit to get the exact exposure you need, because it is just the reflection, it's not the sun. It's not going to be the exact as the Sunny 16 rule, so keep in mind that the best results are going to have a slightly faster shutter speed so that you eliminate any possible camera wobble or vibration from the actual shutter release. But you also want to keep in mind that you don't want your ISO to go so high that you're creating a lot of unintentional noise. So the great thing about the supermoon is that the moon is actually going to appear closer to the Earth than normal, which means it's going to appear slightly larger. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to appear massive the way you see in some photos. The way you do that is with a foreground. The moon obviously doesn't really change that much in size, but our perception of the moon changes an awful lot with what's in front of it. And so it's really more of an optical illusion, but if you can frame your image so that you have the moon and you have a foreground like a building or a bridge or a tree or even a person in front of that, the moon is going to look substantially larger. Lens selection is going to be the other big key piece of this. If you want to take a picture of a moon, chances are you want it to look as close to you as possible. So as much of a telephoto lens as you can possibly use is what you want. Now I'm going to use the 70-200 here, but I also have a 2x converter that I'm going to put on, and that's going to give me essentially a 400mm lens. Now I'm going to have to be really careful with that, because if there's any shake in my camera at all, it's probably going to show up. This is also not the time to use your full frame camera if you've got a crop factor camera. Using a crop factor camera is going to allow you to enhance the amount of telephoto-ness, that's not a word, but it's going to allow you to make the moon appear even closer because you're adding in the additional magnification from the crop factor. So in my case, if I use the 70-200 and the 2x teleconverter on a 1.5x crop lens, that's going to give me somewhere around 600mm, which is pretty good. So to overview real quick, set your camera into manual, set your aperture to something like 11 or 16, and then set your ISO and your shutter speed accordingly. The faster your shutter speed, the less camera shake you're going to get, but lock it down on a tripod. Use a shutter release or a timer or even the touch screen on your display to take the picture so you minimize the amount of vibration going into the camera. Use a crop factor camera if you can, and use the largest telephoto lens that you've got, and make sure you have a foreground that is going to enhance the visual appeal of that moon and you're gonna get some awesome shots, I guarantee it. And I would love to see them. So post them on Instagram, tag me so I can see them. I'm gonna post my pictures on Instagram so you can see them there. And hopefully we all get some pretty awesome shots, unless the weather doesn't hold out, and then that's gonna be a bummer. So here's hoping that things go well for you. That's it, that's Photo Tip Friday. So I know it was quick, but that's the point, is to get you out there and get you shooting. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. It'll help out the channel a lot. If you haven't subscribed, and let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. And until next time, keep shooting, God bless, and let me see those moon pictures. Don't moon me though, that's not what I'm asking for at all.